Gibbs is easily the most important and beloved character throughout NCIS and its fandom. He is everything to those who have kept up with the show over the years. However, with him slowly departing from the series, fans are looking back on what made them fall in love with the character. So stay tuned to today's video as we discuss NCIS moments that made us love Gibbs and what show his development. Number 10. Being unreachable. One of the biggest character traits for Gibbs throughout all of NCIS is that he will never be unreachable. He said this was his personal rule number 3 and could never be broken. Gibbs always had a mobile phone on him. However, as the series progressed, he surprisingly broke this rule often. One of the biggest scenes was when he had his phone switched off undercover despite the fact that he would be in danger. Even on the anniversary of his marriage, he deliberately unplugged his home telephone and even put his mobile phone in some paint thinner so he couldn't talk to his ex-wife. These are big moments for Gibbs, and this character trait really shows his development in the series. He has his own reasons for being unreachable, but the rule itself makes a lot of sense for someone like him. Number 9. Slowly warming up to his own father. Throughout the series, Gibbs and his father have had a very troubled relationship. They were estranged for years, as they fought on most occasions they appeared on screen in. This mostly included the time where Gibbs brought a date to Shannon's funeral. However, it wasn't until the Season 6 episode Heartland where Gibbs finally warmed up to his own father. Here, he interacted with his father once again when him and the team were in a new case in Stillwater. At this time, his father didn't know that Gibbs was the boss, but during the episode, they bonded and finally made amends. The two were close for the next 5 seasons until his father died of a stroke in Season 11, which changed the character even more. This was such a beautiful moment for the character as he finally understood his own father and made amends. This is one of the fanbase's favorite moments of Gibbs, and it makes a lot of sense. Number 8. Not monitoring suspects. During the first season of NCIS, Gibbs was actually very brutal towards suspects in a case. He was the type of guy to never trust a person he had arrested and made sure to monitor their activities all the time. This was a big character change for Gibbs over time in the series. He changed and stopped doing this. A big example of this is in the Season 8 episode Ships in the Night, where he allowed 2 suspects to be in a room together alone. Of course, they turned out to be innocent, but if he did this earlier on in the series, he would have definitely kept the camera on them and watched them as much as possible. Number 7. Trusting a lawyer. Gibbs made it very clear during the early days of NCIS that he would never trust a lawyer. This was written down as his personal rule number 3, but as the series progressed, he warmed up to lawyers, especially in the later seasons. This is especially true in the Season 7 episode Mother's Day. Here, he contacted a lawyer by the name of Allison Hart to represent his ex-mother-in-law after she was singled out as a suspect in the killing of a Navy officer. He trusted the lawyer with the case and wanted her to represent his ex-mother-in-law. This shows a massive change in character and is one of the best reasons why Gibbs is a fan favorite. Number 6. Dating co-workers. In the Season 1 episode titled Enigma, Gibbs stated that he never dates co-workers. However, he ended up dating NCIS Special Agent Jenny Shepard. The two remained lovers during assignments in Italy and London. Sadly, the two broke up because Jenny wanted to further her career by taking up a job as the head of the Madrid team. Perhaps part of the reason why Jenny also decided to end things was that Gibbs wasn't showing any desire to commit for the long term. Either way, it's still surprising that he broke his co-worker rule. Adding more romance to the series is always a good thing for the fan base, as they tend to really get involved when something like this happens. Number 5. Being apologetic. Initially in NCIS, Gibbs seemingly saw an apology as a big sign of weakness. He made this very clear during the early seasons of the show, but he believed in it so profusely because he was a good cop. However, later on in the series, especially during Season 6, we got to see him apologize after wrongfully accusing someone of killing her own colleague. Rather than this being a sign of weakness, it was a sign of changing the character and even shocked someone like McGee. He then also apologized to Donald Mallard after going to Mexico on a very dangerous yet personal mission of his own. Him slowly becoming apologetic is a great character change and one of the biggest moments in his development. The moment where McGee was even surprised is a big moment in the fan base, and they love it as it shows Gibbs' massive development throughout NCIS. Number 4. Getting personal with some of his suspects. Gibbs' 10th personal rule was to never get too personal or emotional with a case. In later seasons, he struggled to adhere to it. When Anthony D'Annunzio admitted to him that he gets too personal with cases in Season 7, Gibbs also confessed that he has been having trouble with that too lately. The most notable case that Gibbs got personal with was the Pedro Hernandez one. He finally discarded the rule in the Season 13 episode She by throwing a piece of paper where he had written it down on the fireplace. Number 3. Starting to change his mind. Early on in NCIS, Gibbs made it very clear that his decision was always final and he could never take backward steps to change things. However, later on throughout his development, circumstances came his way that made him go back and change things he was already done with. During one incident, his superiors didn't listen to him and a horrific terrorist attack occurred because of it. Gibbs was obviously devastated. However, he was already retired at the time and had vowed to stay that way. Things started to get heated, but his mentor Michael Franks convinced him to come back and work for the agency once again. This wasn't the first time Gibbs had retired and still helped out, but it was a massive change in his character as for once he changed his decision. Number 2. Keeping secrets. Gibbs was justified in killing Mexican drug dealer Pedro Hernandez. When the drug dealer learned that Gibbs' wife Shannon was going to testify against him in court, he shot her from a distance while she was inside a car. This caused a crash that also killed her daughter Kelly. Gibbs went to Mexico and got his revenge, but he couldn't keep the secret forever, despite initially making it clear that it was never wise to not tell anyone about the dark actions you have taken. Gibbs eventually opened up to his team and his therapist about killing Pedro Hernandez. Opening up to his team was insane development for Gibbs, as it showed he is completely changed into a brand new character. This is a fan favorite moment and made the fan base fall in love with him even more. When we see a character we already love and enjoy change for the better, it brings something out in the fan base and really solidifies them as an iconic character. Gibbs transcends the NCIS world and is overall just a beloved character in the television industry. Finally, number 1. Stopping going after those who hurt his family. We all know how Gibbs used to treat villains in NCIS and still does to a certain extent, but he trapped one specific person much differently. This was, of course, Pedro Hernandez. Not long after his second wife divorced him, she remarried before meeting her demise. She was killed in the episode named Check of Season 12 by Sergei Mishnev. This was devastating for Gibbs and the fan base, but Gibbs surprisingly didn't pursue her killer in the way he had pursued Hernandez in the past. Despite Gibbs still loving her, he didn't want to pursue it as he wasn't in the right fielder at the time. Instead, Diane's husband killed Sergei by shooting him in the head. This was a big jump for Gibbs, as he proved that he can pull back even when it comes to family. And that's all the moments that made us love Gibbs and showed how much he has changed throughout NCIS. Now that the series is seemingly coming to an end and that Gibbs is leaving forever, fans are reminiscing about the best days of the character. Please let us know down below what your favorite moment of Gibbs in NCIS has been. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comment section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course, subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye!